of Chief G.A Chukelu, the Dunu Afulukwe in Awka Etiti, one of the original founders of People's Club of Nigeria, which came after Awka Club. And my father was Awka Chief in the Awka, which preceded the People's Club. After People's Club was dissolved, because it was deemed a threat by the Nigerian government. He built this house 75, 76, Ocholu Ichi Patron People's Club. So this house has been around since about 1975, 76. If you take pencil to school, I can assure you're not going to use that pencil 2 times. You're not going to know where it is. So we sell pencils in gross. We don't sell pencils in packet. We don't sell pencils in dozen. Okay, gross is 1 dozen, 12 times 12. That's a gross. Okay, you sell in volume. Erasers, you sell in volumes. Chalk, you sell in volume. So when people come to purchase, maybe somebody have a contract to supply Eastern Nigeria or Northern Nigeria then, okay, they're asking for trailer loads to supply a region. And my dad is probably one of the places you get it. If you cannot get it from my dad, people just deposit money because of the trust and say, look, I'll come back next week, have it ready. That's where we come in, the foot soldier. This statue has been here for over 40 years. Yes.
And he bought it.
Yeah, now Bazaar, Awka Etiti Kogolu, this statue. I mounted it here. When I was 16, about to go to US, I have enough money to buy a car on my own. And my dad refused to pay me salary because he says that I eat at home. Yet he pays other people's salary. He says I'm a sister, we keep fighting because he will never pay me salary. But I made enough money to even pay his staff. So this is the where Dunu Afulukwe lies. Okay, and next year, 2026, about 25 years anniversary of his death.
Okay.
So we will now celebrate that along with my mom's that just died. If you studied in the 60s and early 70s and you did not get your books from Chuk's bookshop, then you're going through a middle person and you're paying higher fee. This is his chair, okay? So this chair here was built in 1974-75. Onyaka Ojichi Dunu Afulukwe, you know. Mgbe chiri Dunu Afulukwe bụ nnukwu ọzọ n'Awka Etiti. And mgbe o chiri the Dunu Afulukwe, ihe edebe 20 cows.
20 cows.
20 cows. I akpọ ihe n'ebe enu. Edebe the 20 cows n'ebe enu. Then the dignitaries now be my governor's representative. I akpọ 1 cow now. Apart from the 20 cows, he wants everybody to be successful so that the pressure will be less on him. That if more people are successful, then less people will be coming to him to ask for assistance. And that's what he did. He opened up and groomed so many people from Unokwa, from Osina, from Akokwa. Even when they come into Lagos, they stay in our house. They don't have to worry about, once they can find their way there, it doesn't matter that they're purchasing from other dealers, but his house is always welcome. If I Echigo my children also, Echigo for the last January, 5 also, my first son, Dogu, Awka Etiti. My second son, Eze Afulukwe, Nanya I take after his grandfather.
I love that.
So, already. Somebody asked me in the US, how can you afford to go to a private school over there that's so expensive? You know, even Americans can't attend such a school. And I tell them that my father sells pencil, paper, and eraser. They say, oh, give me a break. How can somebody be selling pencil and be able to afford this type of money? For example, the school I went to, private school, Christian school, the school fees then when I came to US in the early 80s was $95 an hour. Public schools like Texas Southern University, University of Houston, fantastic world-class schools, were $3 an hour. And I was paying almost $100 an hour.
This house was built in 1940. how many years now? Over 70 years.
Oh, more than that.
Or almost over 80 years.
Yeah.
But it's still standing.
Yes,
Do you see?
yes.
Wow.
Yes, yes.
The house in Awka Etiti that was built in 1940 something that stands still, clean, neat.
Yes. At one point in the late 70s, you cannot find even a thatch house or mud house in Awka Etiti. Some people that have bungalow, they want to break it down, but their parents will say, no, don't break it down. I want it there. That was how successful Awka Etiti was. I have a master's in accountancy, okay? And after then, I went to law school. I'm a practicing lawyer, okay, with my own law firm, you know, and I'm slowly trying to retire and chop life. I don't want to be like them and worry about other people for the rest of their life. That's why I say I don't want to feel that shoe. Let me control the one thing. No. I'm not going to die for other people's problems. In fact, they call People's Club an Awka Etiti club because the founders were mostly from Awka Etiti. The patron, Igbo Chukelu, was his cousin. He brought Igbo Chukelu to stay with him in Lagos. The patron, godfather of People's Club, was living with my dad as his cousin. So when they go to People's Club meeting, Igbo Chukelu, being the youngest, took note. He's the first secretary of People's Club, Igbo Chukelu, through the influence of my dad. These people made money and they made impact with their money to help their community, to help their society. These people, a lot of them were creative geniuses. But people don't understand. Instead of asking, they just ascribe that nobody can get that kind of money without doing something fetish. These people were creative. My dad, from very young age, he don't have the resources, had the foresight to start creating economy for himself. Some of the things he did, you know, no other person was doing it.
So for people not saying people of no good, Awka Etiti.
Yes.
I know you're on there.
Yes.
If I would the family, you know what?
Yes.
So that's the reason why we always go to the families. You know, for that now, everything that when we are growing up is true. You understand? Because most people believe that now anybody people club member, but occultic man. So I hope not cut by now. What was you need where?
Awka Etiti is the only town that at one point had 5 patrons. There is no other town that had 2 patrons. You have my father G.A Chukelu, you have Chikeloba, you have Ide Johnson, you have Ide Johnson Igwe, you have J.O.S. Nnoruka, you have Bennett Igwe, then you have Igbo Chukelu. I think I've counted about 6 right. There's no other town, even Newi, as rich as they were, did not have 3 patrons.
Hello guys, this is Creative Law TV. We are live and direct in Awka Etiti. Yeah, today we are here to tell the story of G.A Chukelu, Dunu Afulukwe, one of Awka Etiti, patron Club of Nigeria International, founding member, a founder. He was one of those who found People's Club of Nigeria from Awka. It's not like he joined. They started it. So this man we are talking about was so powerful, influential, rich, and what will I say? He built a legacy that remains forever. That's why we are here today. In short, he was so rich that if you come to Awka Etiti, remember, Awka Etiti people have many people in People's Club of Nigeria. Do you understand? Like Nnoruka, Johnson Igwe, Chikeloba, Ezechukwu, okay, many of them are patrons. Do you know how? Is that coincidence? Because these people are from Awka Etiti and they are people who put this town in the map. In short, they put this town in the map. So in early 90s, 70s, 80s, if you come to Anambra, Awka Etiti is one of the richest towns. Do you understand? And you cannot talk about the influence without talking about this great man, Chukelu, Dunu Afulukwe. So we are here to tell his history and to tell you more. This man built a mansion in 1940. He was educated. So this man went to Cambridge or what, like he schooled abroad and he came back, started business, stationery. He was the first Igbo man that sold stationaries like Awka chalk. Yeah, he made a lot of money through that business. I don't want to say it. Let's go and meet his son direct, who will tell us more about this great man. You know, let me not exaggerate it. Do you understand? Let's go. This is the great Chukelu family. Do you understand? If you look at my left, this is a new brown house. Look at my right, this is a new brown house. It's here, another mansion, and going inside is the great man's house. Let's go. Let's follow this side. I want to show you. Just show them. For those who believe like these people were ritualists, we are in the ritualist house compound. Keep on walk. I focus at. Or if I can do anything, go soon. There's some certain things we don't know. But they told us this, but all is lies. These are the people that made the real impact, and that's why we promote them. If you hear the history of this man, you will say, "Higher! I never know this. I never know this." Do you understand? You cannot believe it. Look at his house. So from the story, he built this house the time he wanted to take patronship. Like he wanted to be a patron, People's Club of Nigeria in 1974-75. Can you imagine? Remember, People's Club International started in 1971. Oh. So in 74, he wanted to be a patron because they started it. Look at the house he built. And from here, let me show. This is the first one because before we go detail, we will have a proper tour of all this house, but can I be there back? From behind the kubu. Do you understand? Good afternoon. So, you see, this house was built in 1940 something. 1940, right? So, it's over 80 years. Look at the original zinc. Look at the maintenance. And look at everything. And the reservoir. You see, this is tank. That's where the water is. And now it's still working perfectly. And they built this house that time, water system. So like the person that built this house that time, you know the kind of capacity he possesses, the kind of person he is. So let's go and we'll talk about this great man. Oh, bro, can I cover? You know
I'm Patrick Buchi Chukelu. Eze Ama na Awka Etiti is my title. I'm an Ozo title. I've been Ozo since 1971. I'm the second highest Ozala Ozo title in Ejinandu in Awka Etiti. I'm the 7 out of 8 children of Chief G.A Chukelu, the Dunu Afulukwe in Awka Etiti. One of the original founders of People's Club of Nigeria, which came after Awka Club. And my father was Awka Chief in the Awka, which preceded the People's Club. After People's Club was dissolved, because it was deemed a threat by the Nigerian government and was deemed more of a political party and was banned, then People's Club went to reconstitute themselves in 1972 in Aba rather than Onitsha to distinguish themselves from the Awka Club. So it's very special and unique group of people that started this organization. Chief G.A Chukelu, if you never met him, you've missed a blessing. The man, when my father died, someone described him as a man that when he raises his hand, God's hand starts at the point of the tip of his fingers. He was a very humble, God-loving, generous, a philanthropist. He puts people ahead of himself. He's a model human being. He's not loud, doesn't make noise, and was acknowledged by his peers for that. My father, G.A Chukelu, lost his father at a very, very young age. And he had to go and serve as boy or servant to his uncle here in Awka Etiti. and he had to do chores after he satisfies his master, who was his uncle. Then he can now focus on his own endeavor. He really embraced education, and he was the first person in Awka Etiti to attain the level of senior Cambridge in Awka Etiti. He brought education to Awka Etiti in the sense of it, because when CKC started at about 1933, he was on the first set of CKC Onitsha, and was the first set with the great Professor Chikobi. They were the first set of People's Club. Somebody brought me an encomium magazine write-up, one of the last interviews done by Chikobi, and they asked Chikobi that you're so brilliant, you're a world-class academician. Were there any people that gave you challenge, competed with you while in school? In the interview, he mentioned two names. He said there was a Chukelu from Awka Etiti and another classmate that ended up being like a bishop in Enugu. That those were the only two people that beat him in school, while they were in school. And that is a true reflective of who G.A Chukelu is. Extremely intelligent, very dedicated. Unfortunately, he had scholarships to be able to go further when Zeke and his contemporaries were going abroad to study, but he made a decision to stay here because since they lost the parents so young, he had to take care of his siblings. He felt like they would starve. So he stayed back, and I've never seen anybody so red as my dad. Even with the attainment of, education, he went through, I believe then it was School of Marine Institute. He may have preceded Yaba College of Technology. He attained as much education he could find around, but he's so vast that when he visits me in the United States, he came one time and said, "Can we go to where they had the Battle of Alamo?" I said, "I hear of it." He said, "No, that's where one of the greatest battles ever left was fought, where the ragtag army defeated Santa Ana Mexican army, and that's how the story of Texas started." And I live in Texas. I didn't get all those details. So he's so read and very knowledgeable that it's incredible. He trained his mind wherever his situation is. So education-wise, he's the first person to attain senior Cambridge in Awka Etiti, and in 1976 or thereabout, he established a scholarship fund and funded it with 20,000 naira. That's in 1976, when a car was going for about 2,000 naira. And one of his purpose, apart from his individual helping out folks who need education or whatever, who need assistance, there was a practice where women were not really encouraged to further their education, and he didn't like that. So he established a fund to ensure that anybody, regardless of your background, if you want to go to school, the money should be used to fund both male and female. And I understand that some of the first medical practitioners in this area were able to use that scholarship to attain their medical degrees, because this was just after the war, when men were going into trade to sustain their family, and if the woman is well versed in Western education, there's a belief that the woman constitutes a threat to the man who is not academically trained. So there was this bias against women. When you finish secondary school, You're probably encouraged to go learn some trade or homemaking, but he felt like the mind, like they say, is a terrible thing to waste. And he was very, very encouraging. In fact, when he died, a lot of people that saw the obituary announced in the newspaper, they came, and some of them from different towns were saying they studied abroad, and they studied through his scholarship, even abroad, and some of them come back to thank him, and he inquire about their background. They still want to study more. He funds them. These are people I've never met. I don't even remember their names till today. That's the type of man he is. Whatever he couldn't get for himself, he lived it through others. If you come and you have good results, he doesn't care where you're from. He's going to fund you because he felt like that was what he never had. That's who he is. Very interesting. In fact, from a very young age, I've always liked to make my own money. So he, with his education, he went to work for railway. He was a Nigerian Railway then. He was like a he was like accounting clerk at Nigerian Railway, but after he married my mom, I think he married my mom at like around 1947 or thereabout. So he started. They lived in the railway compound around the Butemeta, Yaba side. So he would set up like a kiosk where students going to school, they need paper, they need pencil. My mom would take care of that just from a ragtag little area. Then when he became eligible to get his pension from railway, he now went full time into stationery business in Yaba, called Chuk's Bookshop, Yaba. If you studied in the 60s and early 70s and you did not get your books from Chuk's Bookshop, then you're going through a middle person and you're paying higher fee. So he started his stationery business. He was a pioneer in stationery business, and a lot of pioneers like Zeke that were writing Pan-African books, or even economists that were writing books, but they're Nigerians that were publishers. You'll notice that most of those books, early publications, you have to go to Oxford Printing, Macmillan Printing. Most of them were Western. There were no local opportunities. So if you write books that rouses your intellectual and it seems to be against the then colonial government, then you cannot have an outlet in the British-controlled stationary media. That's where G.A Chukelu comes in with his Chuk's Bookshop, because it was an outlet for local writers to disseminate their book. Let me give you an example. There's what you call record song books. If you're a little bit older, you know that a lot of people, they line up at Chuk's Bookshop in Lagos, off of Dosumu Street, and they go there to get their books. And what here my mom also did was they go through the old popular Western music, they listen to it repeatedly and write down the lyrics. So whenever there's a new song that's out, people rush to Chuk's Bookshop to get the record song books so that they can be up to date. Those are some of their creative geniuses, okay? Then he once listened to the radio and heard Cyprian Ekwensi storytelling. He was so impressed that he contacted Cyprian Ekwensi and put Cyprian Ekwensi on contract to weekly write short stories exclusively for Chuk's Bookshop, and they get those stories. Those are not published materials exclusively. So he was a major outlet. He was a pioneer to disseminating information out. If it's now, it will be digital media, but you can get whatever information you want in education from Chuk's Bookshop. Then he started from Yaba, then moved to inside Lagos, the Sumu Street, off Nnamdi Azikiwe Street. So his background was in stationery. So when I was younger, when I go to work for my dad, I started working for my dad earlier as like 12 years old. Whenever we have holiday, Muslim or Christian holiday, I'll go there, I'll enter motor to Ebutero. And when I get there, I help supply customers and they give me tips. And you're so surprised that when I come back home, I have so much money in my pocket than somebody that went to get a formal civil servant job. So somebody asked me in the US, how can you afford to go to a private school over there that's so expensive? You know, even Americans can't attend such a school. And I tell them that my father sells pencil, paper, and eraser. They say, oh, give me a break. How can somebody be selling pencil and be able to afford this type of money? For example, the school I went to, private school, Christian school, the school fees there when I came to US in the early 80s was $95 an hour. Public schools like Texas Southern University, University of Houston, fantastic world-class schools, were $3 an hour. And I was paying almost $100 an hour. So it was shocking that a black person can be able to afford such a private school. And when I tell them what my father, they say, you're not telling us what he does yet. But what people don't realize, the man was so brilliant that, think about it, if you take pencil to school, I can assure you, you're not going to use that pencil 2 times. You're not going to know where it is. So we sell pencils in gross. We don't sell pencils in packet. We don't sell pencils in dozen. Okay, gross is 1 dozen 12 times 12. That's a gross. Okay, you sell in volume. Erasers, you sell in volumes. Chalk, you sell in volume. So when people come to purchase, maybe somebody have a contract to supply Eastern Nigeria or Northern Nigeria then, okay, they're asking for trailer loads to supply a region. And my dad is probably one of the places you'll get it. If you cannot get it from my dad, people just deposit money because of the trust and say, look, I'll come back next week, have it ready. That's where we come in, the foot soldier. We'll go rally around. I can go to any stationer, okay, with my dad's name. They're going to supply all we want, okay, just on trust. And when you rally it around, take all the one my dad has, get from this one, Bolsafia, Aplico. By the time you're done, when I was 16, about to go to US, I have enough money to buy a car on my own. And my dad refused to pay me salary because he says that I eat at home. Yet he pays other people's salary. He says that Mr. we keep fighting because he will never pay me salary. But I made enough money to even pay his staff from the little exposure I have. So the stationery business, okay, you cannot imagine the volume of money, but as things change, okay, introduction of laptop, computers, you don't have to, then you have Tipex. If you make mistake, you correct your paper, you keep using paper, printing out paper. Right now, you can save things on your flash drive, save things on your computer. You don't have to keep typing it. So in his era, he was visionary and he learned from, in fact, I heard that when he was in school, in CKC, he buys this bottle of ink, Quink ink, okay? And if you're going to do exam, you run out of your ink, you go to him, he was a stationery there, you let you draw your ink. You may be too young to understand that you have a bottle of ink, you put your pen, you press the little soft back and it sucks in the ink, then you have to keep replenishing it. He was a stationer even on campus and people were buying supplies from him. So he had good insight on how to make money on basic things. So he was, even though he had the market cornered, but the reality is that he was so generous that he invited as many people that he felt were not doing something, introduced them to the business. I'll give you an example. There was a time that some of the, he was dealing in Faber-Castell, Stettler. Those are major stationery products, mostly from United Kingdom. So sometimes they come to him and say, Dad, we just want you to take over West Africa. Let's just bring to you and let everybody buy from you. My dad refused. He said he wants everybody to be successful so that the pressure will be less on him. That if more people are successful, then less people will be coming to him to ask for assistance. And that's what he did. He opened up and groomed so many people from Unokwa, from Osina, from Akokwa. Even when they come into Lagos, they stay in our house. They don't have to worry about, once they can find their way there, it doesn't matter that they're purchasing from other dealers, but his house is always welcoming. So his wealth, by giving, in fact, the wealth grows, just like the Bible says that, he will multiply, your bag will be filled over and spilling over. The more he helps out people, the more his blessing grows. He never wanted exclusivity of wealth. He wanted other people to be successful too and to grow. And that was a blessing. And that's one thing I cherish from him also. I never practice exclusivity. If I know something that's going to help others, I will do it, because you'll be surprised. Sometimes I go to restaurants, sit down, want to pay. They say somebody have paid. I say, I don't know the person. I say, please, why didn't you pay for me? The person will say, oh, you don't know what you did for me, blah, blah, blah. So it's a good thing. If you were born, or if you lived in Nigeria, in the 70s and 80s, you will know that even in People's Club, there is no other town. And People's Club was the whole Nigeria. People's Club was the whole Nigeria. It wasn't just restricted to a several area. In fact, people don't know that even several Yorubas are in People's Club, especially their kings. Because when they come and see how People's Club operate, help each other, love their neighbor, even Yorubas, they join. It's not discriminatory. It's not discriminatory. So, in terms of impact in Awka Etiti. Awka Etiti is the only town that at one point had 5 patrons. There is no other town that had 2 patrons. You have my father G.A Chukelu, you have Chikeloba, you have Ide Johnson, you have Ide Johnson Igwe, you have J.O.S. Noruka, you have Bennett Igwe, then you have Ike Ojukwu. I think I've counted about 6 right now. There's no other town, even Newi, as rich as they were, did not have 3 patrons. So in fact, they call People's Club an Awka Etiti club, because the founders were mostly from Awka Etiti. Okay, and it's the example that these people show that encourage other people to come in. Let me give you an example. If you come to my father's business, okay, and you're from Awka Etiti, or you're from Knights of Mulumba, or you're from CKC, which was the first set, you can just take anything you want and pay later, because he wants to encourage you to succeed. He gives you opportunity, open up for you. The same thing too with a lot of the Awka Etiti people, with their kuluno and helping each other. Some of these guys, like the GMOs and the Chikeloba, the Igwes, their companies, they're into so many other products, and you just come over there, they'll let you take the products, and most people don't even come back to pay, but it's some type of economic enrichment, okay? So there was said at one point in the late 70s, you cannot find even a thatch house or mud house in Awka Etiti. Some people that have bungalow, they want to break it down, but their parents will say, no, don't break it down, I want it there. That was how successful Awka Etiti was, because of their encouragement to help others, and it's very encouraging. They were very, very they extended their hand to help a lot of people here. Like I mentioned, the scholarship scale my dad set up, You know, anybody can apply. He even wanted to encourage women that were not being allowed to go to school and were being made to just go to sewing school or learn how to do homemaking and all this. He felt that education was very powerful. Okay, so the impact was very grateful economically and educationally. And with those type of track record, people wanted to be close to them and emulate them, you know. So Awka Etiti was very, very prominent, even though it's a small town, it was very, very prominent, help each other, self-development, even more than bigger towns around. So, and that Awka Etiti drove that people's club. I'm sure you've interviewed JOS Noroka's son. He'll tell you, Roadmaster, how they've all done to impact not just the local Anambra or local Awka Etiti economy, but the whole Nigerian economy. If you go to China then, or you go to Taiwan, and they see you as a black person, they will ask you, oh, do you know so person? Do you know so? And if you're lucky enough to even say, oh, you know so person, or you're an Igbo, or you know so person, some of them will even give you goods on credit because they're dealing with these great merchants. And they feel that if you even have the slightest idea to know these people, that they can deal with you too. So these people have super goodwill worldwide, and it helped people. I would also like to mention about G.A Chukelu. He's a very peace-loving man. He's very straightforward. There was a time that there was crisis here in Anambra, and they put him on the committee, peace committee. And after everybody wrote their report, he wrote a separate report on the incident based on his beliefs and observation. And there was a crowd mentality that why didn't you go along with everybody else? And he said no, he's writing based on his belief and knowledge. And even though he received a lot of heat from it, at the end of the day, that very minority proposal he made was eventually what solved the problem. So he's not a person that acts on others' conviction, he acts on his own belief. And in fact, one of the things in his business, if you do business with my dad, then with his business, Chuk's Bookshop, and you're unsatisfied, or you come in and say, oh, these goods that were supplied, some were damaged, you didn't have proof, he will just tell you based on goodwill. Let them give you whatever you want, because he believes that goodwill is the best policy. So, and that kind of guides his life. He's a very religious man. I don't know if some of you may know the St. Dominic's Yaba, that's right there in Lagos. When the Dominican priests came from Chicago, when they came from Chicago and was looking for a parish where to start, they came there. It was St. Patrick's, and my dad was the secretary of St. Patrick's. So he symbolically handed the keys over to the Dominican priests from missionaries from Chicago to start St. Dominic's Yaba, and he was very instrumental in the 3 phases that St. Dominic's went to rebuilding. And in fact, when they did their 50-year anniversary, my dad was very sick then, around early 2001. They insisted that they want him to be the keynote speaker to tell the history of that St. Dominic's Catholic Church, Yaba. And even with his sickness and everything, he was there. One of the pictures I showed you guys was where he was telling the history, and Archbishop Okoji was copiously taking note, because they didn't know the history of how that mission came that has become that big ecumenical church over at that St. Dominic's Yaba. So he's a very religious man, very straightforward person, and of good character to emulate. And God blessed him with very good family and very successful business-wise. So I'm following his footsteps.
Do you think you can fill your father's shoe?
Lie. In fact, that's one of the reasons I didn't even join People's Club, because the shoe was just too big. I don't want to fool myself. I've been approached by Johnson Igwe, Ike Ojukwu, FFBC. Even my father was telling me when they were inaugurating the first international branch in Houston, Texas. My father encouraged me to join. I told him, Papa, none nwere ego na-aba People's Club na ego ogbagotebere. He tried to encourage me. I didn't. And that's really up till today. I know a lot of the officers, the operators, and they encourage me, but I don't fool myself. This shoe was too big. I know the pioneers, FFBC, Ezokoko, Johnson Igwe, and all the. I know them personally, and I felt like these people lived and sacrificed their life for people, for the community, to help others. I'm fooling myself. A lot of people now, they think about their family, where if there's leftover, they give others. But I just felt like, true to myself, I will do things at my own pace. These people sacrificed their lives. They never went on vacation. They just did whatever to help humanity. And true to myself, I'm not at that level. I'm going at my own pace. I'm not measuring my own achievements by their level. These were too much. These guys were too much. So I'm doing my things at my own pace. No way, you know. These are people that immediately after the war, people that came back, some of them were displaced. They didn't have a house. My house was like a barracks in Lagos, okay? And people were all over the floor, living there, you know. And after a while, my mom cooks like in a big industrial restaurant and feed people. And after a while, they felt so comfortable, they didn't want to leave. After a while, my dad had to do a send-off party to all of them for them to move because they were too comfortable. That's the type of person he is. True to myself, where our lifestyles are a little bit different. So these were great men. I'm not just talking about my dad, talking about these guys that started the People's Club. It was more of socio-economic association to uplift particularly the Igbos at a very distressing time. That's the sacrifice they made. When my father took the big Ozo title, Dunu Afulukwe, when he took the big Ozo title in the mid-70s, okay, the title is a traditional title. So you're supposed to have Omenane and all this part of it as part of it. My dad insisted that he's not going to go through some of those old traditional sacrifices that went through that. And because of his status in the society and his principle, those things were waived for him. Some people call it no Ozo Oka. So that is church title he took, not traditional title, because just like you saw in my father's compound, or you will see, there's a big old cross in there. The man was if there's Christ-like, I've never seen anybody that's like Christ-like for my dad. He would take his shirt, in fact, he took his shirt off to give to others. You know, he never, in fact, my mom, my dad, his shoes, when he wears, if you raise his shoes, where his big toes are, the leather has shaved all off. And when you tell him, Papa, change your shoes, he say, leave it alone, I'm the one wearing it, I'm comfortable with it. But he will sponsor people he doesn't even know to abroad, because he felt like he wished he had somebody to sponsor him to get the maximum education he has. He didn't have anybody to sponsor him because he came from poor, well, not poor, but his father died when he was very young and left them, 4 of them. He had to start catering for his family at a very young age. So my dad is not into fetish. I don't know anybody in People's Club, the foundation, that was fetish in any way. But when people don't know how you made your money, instead of asking, they ascribe it that is fetishness. Somebody like me, okay, I can make 10 times the money I'm making right now, but by choice, I have to give up something. Maybe my family life or give up more time. I've decided that there was a time I sat down and looked at my finances, and I saw that almost 60% of the money that comes through my hand is going to solving other people's problem. And I decided that, no, I decided that I don't have to be at work by 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning to be supposedly helping somebody that is not as frugal or not responsible on economics. I need to do a life balance. Right now, I retired as a law university professor in December 2024. Okay, they were begging me. I said, no, I'm done. I want to have more time for myself. I want to see the world while I can still walk on my 2 hands, while I still have my teeth to chew on meat. Okay, I'm cutting down because a lot of this money you make, you ask yourself, what are you going to do with it? Is it to impress people? Is it to buy Rolls Royce or what? Okay, so you strive a life balance. These people made money and they made impact with their money to help their community, to help their society. These people, a lot of them were creative geniuses. But people don't understand. Instead of asking, they just ascribe that nobody can get that kind of money without doing something fetish. These people were creative. My dad, from very young age, he don't have the resources, had the foresight to start creating economy for himself. Some of the things he did, no other person was doing it. He was blessed, and he put how do they say? He put the foot to the pedal. He has ideas, and he went forward with his ideas. There's no fetishness in it. Night of Semulimba for the whole of Lagos State. He was second in command. If we need to bring it down, we can bring it down.
Okay. This is the great man we are talking about. Dunu Afulukwe, one of Awka Etiti, patron People of Nigeria International, one of the father, individual from the beginning. That the pioneer. That's why when you come to Awka Etiti, patron carry 10 on there. This is it. Let's go and turn his house. You know what?
Brother, ụmụnwaanyị ka a na-ekwu. Ya bụ last born ụmụnwaanyị.
Okay, so ọ chọrọ nnọọ ka o dowe gị na last born.
Ya bụ last born, ya bụ obele nwa.
You know, for family. So for people who are saying the people of Ogwe, Awka Etiti.
Yes.
I know you're on there.
Yes.
If I would the family. You know what?
Yes.
So that's the reason why we always go to the families. You know, for that now, everything when we are growing up is true. You understand? Because most people believe that now. Anybody People Club member, but occultic man. So I hope not cut by now. What was you need where? So can I have sign on there now? Let's start from where we are.
Is mama.
So this is our place.
Yes, yeah. Kabo Bim.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So he's want to take us in a tour. So that's kind for all Lord Dunu Afulukwe. Ọgaranya obi edocha during his time ndị a na-eme philanthropic na-enye ife na-enyegasị ndị obodo ndị a bụ ndị bidoro ya no ife ọbụla nwere ndị bidoro ya n'ụwa.
Okay, ka ije mee taa.
So which year ka ị rụrụ ụlọ?
2017.
Okay, 2017. Wow. It's a unique house, so it will last.
Yeah. So anyway, unu take go nke abụ ụmụ Dunu Afulukwe na-abụ. I just long ka na-emeghe ya tata. Two of them.
Your brothers.
Yes, two of them. Yeah.
So this is not a dynasty.
Yeah,
it's a dynasty. So this is your father's gate.
Yes. I'll be Dunu Afulukwe.
Okay. So
nke alụlụ na 1975-76.
This particular building.
Yes, this particular. That's his village house.
Okay.
Here. Okay. So ebe abụ nwanne kedu ebe abụ ebe ọ na-eme receive visitors. Obi.
Okay, this is his Oji.
Yes. So oche no bụ ebe ọ na-anọ receive ndị mmadụ.
I will go closer.
Yeah. So
okay, this is his chair.
Yes, this is his chair. Okay, so this chair here was built in 1974-75. Onyaka Ojichi Dunu Afulukwe, you know. Mgbe echiri Dunu Afulukwe bụ nnukwu ọzọ n'Awka Etiti. And mgbe ochiri the Dunu Afulukwe, ihe edebe 20 cows.
20 cows.
20 cows. I akpọ ya n'ebe enu. Edebe the 20 cows n'ebe enu. Then the dignitaries na abịa ma governor's representative. I akpọ 1 cow na apart from the 20 cows.
See, the 20 cows must be presented.
Yes, right there. I am to every akpọ ya ofu efi.
See, but now, are they still doing it that way?
No, that's why they have very few Dunu. People like Dunu Okibo, Noroka Unumele interview.
Yeah.
Is Dunu. There are very few people who Dunu. Oh. When our great-grandfathers created the Ozo, it's supposed to be ultimate that nobody can ever attain such level. Because Ofuonya de Ebuefi na Igbo. No community na Ebuefi ke. They didn't anticipate no mgbe people ye go.
Yes.
Low to they said no Ofuonya ye go Ofuefi. So they set that standard and they met it.
20 cows.
Yeah, they made their life. I remember
measure.
You know, then dignitaries they put a separate cow.
This is a history. You see? So if you hear a name, Dunu Dunu Afulukwe, Dunu Afulukwe.
Yes.
No, that this is not something. So
yeah.
What is
So this actually my father na bazaar emelo na Awka Etiti. He saw this and he loved it, so he bought it. This statue has been here for over 40 years. Yes.
And he bought it.
Na bazaar Awka Etiti Kogolu this statue and mounted it here. Now his house.
Wow. So where is his tomb?
Yeah. So
where is the great man lying?
This is sorry, I the children's house, so we did a little ceremony.
Okay. The opening house ceremony.
Yes. Okay. So this is the where Dunu Afulukwe lies. Okay, and next year, 2026, about 25 years anniversary of his death.
Okay.
So we will now celebrate that along with my mom's that just died. They buried my mom. I'm a 1 year memorial of my mom. So next year we'll now do a bigger ceremony to honor them.
Okay. So me and the family, me and my family shall serve the Lord. Your father was a devoted Christian.
Very devoted.
Chief G.A Chukelu.
Yes.
Dunu Afulukwe. Awka Etiti. 1914 to 2001.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And my dad was the deputy grand knight for Knight of Mulumba, Lagos State. When he was alive, very active role, very active in the church.
Just some of people believe that even from People's Club member, they believe even the. So he built the same.
Yeah, he built this house 75, 76.
Okay.
Mgbe Ocholu Ichi his patron, People's Club. So this house has been around since about 1975, 76.
Huh. So before he should be able to make a patron, you have to build a befitting house.
No, then most patrons, if you see, most of them are low 2 levels of Toyota.
Yeah.
And it serves a purpose because during Christmas, a lot of people now, my friends and all this, only chop peace.
Yeah.
Or just be able, some of the friends, my Indi Yoruba, they'll just come here, there will be room. So my father and I came with enough room so that he had to put.
Yes.
So he's always welcoming. Room available. Everywhere is filled.
So some of you people, like when you go to some other People's Club member, they don't come home. But you people keep maintaining the house, making it like look neat. So why do you people learn it?
Well, since before Njebo Obodo Yibo, I have never spent one Christmas or Easter outside Awka Etiti. And I know another quality of August. So he always makes sure we're grounded.
Okay, he brings people home.
Yes, and that's what I do too for my children. For America, they're always here. If I go my children also, go for the last January. My first son, Dogu, Awka Etiti. My second son, Eze Afulukwe, because I take after his grandfather.
I love that.
So Obidogo already, yes, my last born. You know.
So that is one thing we want to be preaching. Yes. Bring your people home.
Yes.
Not when the great people is gone.
Yes.
Nobody will remember home.
Yes.
And when you come to the house, it will look like abandoned place.
Yes.
That's why some people believe that ritual is because of such things.
No.
So was it the first house?
No. This is the second house.
Okay.
Well, I'll show you briefly the first house. Okay.
Okay.
So the first house was built in the late 40s, and it was one of the first modern houses where all the conveniences inside the house. Okay. Most times here are look kitchen separate from uno. Toilet in This house has complete utility, and it was built in the late 40s. It's one of the first modern building in this whole area.
So your father is not only that he made money early, but he doesn't manage things. He do something extraordinary, like clean, neat, and professional.
Yes. So, yeah. So this was his first house all here, and it's still standing. With all the conveniences and everything. And like I told you, na Dangada mgbe ndị Two City Drama Group na-eme play with Chika Opala and my sister that you just interviewed. So we stand around these railings for them to be doing play inside. We'll be looking through the window. Okay,
this is the place where they were doing the play that time.
Yes, that's the Brudaya. Chika, but this is where they were learning during the war. This is where they were doing plays and everything.
So he built this reservoir
for water time.
That time?
Yes.
And it's still good?
Yes, very good.
So the thing is still working?
Yeah, very working now, functional.
So now these people who are living here, they use water system?
Yeah, no, that's the brother's house. So my cousins are staying here now.
But they still use the water system?
Yeah, everything is functioning. Everything is functioning very
with original zinc?
Everything original.
This house was built in 1940. Like how many years now? Over 70 years?
Oh, more than that.
Almost over 80 years. But it's still standing.
Yes.
Do you see?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, yes.
The house in Awka Etiti that was built in 1940 something that stands still, clean,
Yes,
neat.
yes, yes,
Huh?
yes.
Osizeba happened. So
Yes,
the time what was
moving, yes.
Patron, Principal of Nigeria.
Yes, or
He
move
now
it,
said,
yes,
no, let me
yes,
build my
yes,
befitting
yes,
house.
yes, yes,
So,
yes,
okay,
yes,
here it was
yes,
his
yes.
object.
Yeah, this one was modernized. It was smaller then.
Okay.
It was smaller. It was smaller.
Hey, serious. So your people, I'm happy that the richness did not even stop. Like your father did not go with it because you people still maintain. Like, look at new houses everywhere.
Yes,
You people are
yes.
doing massively well, and it's
We
like you
thank
people,
God.
you all went to school.
Yes, yes, yeah. He encouraged education very well. Like somebody like me now, uh, I have a master's in accountancy, okay, and and after then I went to law school. I'm a practicing lawyer, okay, with my own law firm, you know, and I'm slowly trying to retire and chop life. I don't want to be like them and worry about other people for the rest of their life. That's why I say I don't want to feel that shoe. Let me can't
Okay.
turn the one thing.
It's too much
No. I'm not going to die for other people's problems. Jesus has died for us, you know.
can do the one you can do, and then you the rest.
Yes. Like I told you, we do our own contribution in a little way. He's already encouraged us to reach out and help others whenever we can. That's the legacy he left for us, you know.
Okay.
So whatever I can do to help, but it's not going to consume me.
Okay.
Do you understand? Like I just showed you, the medical mission we brought repeatedly every year to Awka Etiti. After we did it on the 29th, the medication, there are boxes of medication that I showed you.
Okay, here.
Yes, the boxes. So we've now coordinated with the priest that said prayers. He's the chaplain of Awka Etiti. We will turn over the medications to them. All the medication from US.
Okay, that is free medication.
Free medication, free medication.
People have been doing it for long.
For every year, and it will be a year control. We have lab that will bring in lab. They'll test you and everything. We're not going to be guessing what your ailment is. All free.
Wow.
All free.
So which means the foundation your father built is still
Yes. But they did more. But we're doing little by little. We're doing our own bit.
Wow.
We're doing our own bit.
This is massive, man.
Yes.
So, what else again? There's many stories. So the only thing I can ask you is to talk to people who are watching us. You know, some people just believe. If you look at my right, you see beautiful house. My left, beautiful house. Here, the old house that's still maintained.
Yes.
So, what are you going to tell them? Those who believe like your father, somebody like your father was an occultic man.
No. You can't just sit in your house and pass judgment on other people. The man his hands were open. He encouraged people. If he sees, in fact, do you know that my dad, somebody wrote, we have a Awka Etiti newspaper they call Awka Etiti Horizon. So they did a competition and said, who is the richest man in Awka Etiti? And somebody that won the essay wrote that Chief G.A Chukelu is the richest man in Awka Etiti. But my dad, if you count 30 people that are wealthy, my dad will not even come close to 30 people that are wealthy. But what he did with his wealth was very impactful, okay? And one of the things he does is, whenever my dad is in town, he doesn't go anywhere with car, even though he's a member of a Chie, a Tigwe's Palace, next to the gas station if you're entering from Nobi. My father, if he's going to the council meeting, he walks.
With his
bare foot. He walks everywhere. That's how he gets his exercise. He's in a very good shape. So when he's walking, if he sees that your fence has fallen, he will detail contractor to fix that fence. So he was impactful. When he's women going to market to sell their wear, he'll be walking alongside them. They'll be gisting. That makes their day. That, hey, me and Chief were talking to him. So he was very simple down. He never uses a driver.
He drives himself.
In fact, the patron, Ike Ojukwu, was his cousin. he brought Ike Ojukwu to stay with him in Lagos. The patron, godfather of People's Club, was living with my dad as his cousin. So when they go to People's Club meeting, Ike Ojukwu, being the youngest, took note. He's the first secretary of People's Club, Ike Ojukwu,
Yeah.
through the influence of my dad.
Yeah. I can't do it.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, my dad. I'll be with my dad. Desile as People's Club, and he is one of the greatest contributors to People's Club, Ike Ojukwu.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, he's my uncle, Beyede, right there. You've gone to his house.
Yes.
So my dad, what I'll tell people is, just do whatever skill God gives you. Just use it as ministry. You don't have to be a reverend father or reverend sister to be doing God's ministry. Whatever skill God gave you, okay, just use it well and do the right thing, and that in a way will glorify God. These people sacrificed themselves to help humanity. That's how great they are. I can't even clean any of their shoes. I know these people personally. They were great human beings.
From the scratch.
If there's Ogwego, then the person doing the Ogwego should be richer than everybody in the country.
Yes.
But they're not. So just work hard, stay focused. God gave all of us skill. Use your skill to be impactful to the world. That's all I will say. These people they were very impactful.